Gentlemen, what if I told you that something as simple as raw honey, the same jar that might be sitting in your kitchen cabinet right now, could become one of the most powerful tools for restoring circulation, boosting nitric oxide production, and bringing back the kind of vitality and confidence you thought was gone for good? But here's what 93% of men over 60 don't know. This isn't about drizzling honey on your toast or sweetening your tea. This is about using honey strategically at specific times of day in precise amounts to support the exact biological pathways that control blood flow, erectile function, and sexual performance. I'm Dr. Lila Romano, a board-certified urologist, and I've been helping men reclaim their sexual health for over a decade. What I'm about to share with you isn't clickbait or some miracle cure. This is based on real research from the National Institutes of Health, cardiovascular studies, and what I see working in my clinic every single day. I'm going to show you the exact timing windows, the precise amounts, and the powerful combinations that turn raw honey from a simple sweetener into a circulation-enhancing, nitric oxide-boosting tool. And here's the critical part most men miss. Timing matters more than the honey itself. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll have a complete protocol you can start using tomorrow morning. But before we dive in, drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. I love connecting with men worldwide who are serious about reclaiming their vitality. All right, now, before we dive into the solution, I need you to understand what's actually happening inside your body after 60. Because once you see the problem clearly, the solution makes perfect sense. As we age, the blood vessels throughout our body, especially the tiny vessels that supply the pelvic region and erectile tissue, begin to stiffen and lose their flexibility. At the same time, our production of nitric oxide, the master molecule that controls blood flow and erections, drops by nearly 50%. The result? Morning erections weaken or disappear completely. Intimacy becomes unpredictable and frustrating. Energy fades by mid-afternoon. And you start to feel like your body is betraying you, like you're losing the vitality that used to come so naturally. As a urologist who's studied dozens of research papers on natural circulation support, I can tell you that honey consistently appears in studies from the National Institutes of Health and cardiovascular journals. Not as a miracle cure, but as a legitimate support tool when used correctly. Today, I'm going to walk you through 5 critical insights. First, the nitric oxide connection and why honey works like natural upstream support for erections. Second, the inflammation factor and how honey clears the pathways for blood flow. Third, raw versus processed honey and why 90% of what's on store shelves is completely useless. Fourth, the 3 critical timing windows when your body can actually use honey to boost circulation. And fifth, the power combinations that multiply honey's effects. Let's start with the foundation, because this is where everything begins. Every firm, reliable, lasting erection depends on one single molecule, nitric oxide. Without enough nitric oxide, your body simply cannot create the blood flow needed for intimacy. Here's how it works. When you become aroused, your brain sends signals down your spinal cord to the nerves in your pelvic region. Those nerves release nitric oxide, which acts as a signaling molecule telling the smooth muscles in your blood vessels to relax. When those muscles relax, your arteries open wide. Blood rushes into the spongy erectile tissue of the penis, and veins get compressed to trap that blood inside. The result is firmness. But here's the problem. After the age of 60, the cells that line your blood vessels, called endothelial cells, become less efficient at producing nitric oxide. Your arteries lose flexibility from decades of stress, inflammation, and dietary strain. Oxidative stress damages the production pathways. The key that's supposed to unlock blood flow gets weaker and weaker. This is where honey becomes incredibly valuable, and the research backs this up. Raw honey contains natural nitrates that your body converts into nitric oxide. It's also rich in flavonoids, which are plant compounds that protect nitric oxide from breaking down too quickly. Studies published through the National Institutes of Health demonstrate that certain varieties of raw honey increase nitric oxide levels in the blood, helping blood vessels relax more efficiently. 1. Controlled study found that men consuming raw honey daily showed measurable improvements in nitric oxide availability within just a few weeks. Now, this is the same basic mechanism that medications like Viagra use, but here's the critical difference. Those medications force an immediate response for a few hours by blocking the enzyme that breaks down nitric oxide. Honey works upstream. It supports your body's natural ability to produce nitric oxide in the first place. It's not about forcing a response. It's about nourishing the system so it can do what it's designed to do. And this is why 1 teaspoon of raw honey in the morning, paired with just a 15-minute walk, can enhance your circulation throughout the entire day. You're giving your endothelial cells the raw materials they need right when they're most receptive. But nitric oxide is only part of the story. Because even if your body can produce nitric oxide, there's another silent saboteur that most men don't even realize is affecting them, and that's chronic inflammation. Most men assume that erectile changes are primarily about low testosterone, and while hormones do play a role, in my clinic I see a deeper issue far more often: chronic, low-grade inflammation. Here's what inflammation does to your circulatory system. It stiffens the walls of your arteries like rust forming inside metal pipes. It disrupts nitric oxide signaling. It reduces the responsiveness of the smooth muscles that are supposed to relax and allow blood flow. And here's the kicker. The tiny blood vessels in your pelvic region are affected first because they're so sensitive to changes in blood chemistry. When inflammation becomes persistent, intimacy is often the first casualty. Cardiovascular studies consistently link chronic inflammation to reduced penile blood flow. Men with elevated C-reactive protein, which is a major inflammatory marker, have significantly weaker erectile function. So where does honey fit into this? Raw honey is rich in powerful anti-inflammatory compounds, polyphenol, flavonoids, quercetin, and catechin. One clinical study showed that honey consumption lowered C-reactive protein levels by measurable amounts. Another trial demonstrated improvements in oxidative stress, which directly translates to better blood vessel flexibility. When you lower inflammation throughout your entire body, circulation improves everywhere, including the vessels that supply your pelvic floor and erectile tissue. Now, you might be wondering, where is all this inflammation coming from? It's from sources most men don't even think about: processed foods and high-sodium diets, chronic stress that keeps cortisol elevated, poor sleep, anything less than 7 hours, and a sedentary lifestyle, especially long hours sitting. These create a background level of inflammation that quietly sabotages your circulation, your energy, and your sexual function. Think of your blood vessels like a network of garden hoses. When they're soft and flexible, blood flows effortlessly. When inflammation makes them stiff and kinked, flow becomes restricted and pressure becomes inconsistent. Honey's antioxidants act like a daily maintenance routine, keeping those vessels supple and responsive. And here's a simple way to amplify this effect. Combine your morning honey with other anti-inflammatory foods. A handful of fresh berries, a cup of warm water with lemon, even a short stretching routine. These small pairings create a cumulative effect that supports the vessels responsible for intimacy. But here's where most men completely waste their time and money. They go to the grocery store, grab a bottle of honey off the shelf, and assume they're getting all these benefits. The harsh truth is this: if you're using the wrong honey, you're doing absolutely nothing for your circulation. Let me explain the difference, because this is critical. When honey is pasteurized, which is what happens to 90% of the honey on store shelves, it's heated to temperatures above 140 degrees Fahrenheit and then filtered to remove all the pollen. This process might make the honey look clear and smooth, but it destroys everything that makes honey powerful. The live enzymes get destroyed. The antioxidants degrade or disappear completely. What you're left with is glorified sugar syrup with a honey label. It might taste sweet, but it has zero therapeutic value for circulation or nitric oxide production. Raw honey, on the other hand, is a completely different substance. It hasn't been heated above natural hive temperatures. It hasn't been filtered to remove pollen. It still contains live enzymes like glucose oxidase and invertase. It's packed with pollen, propolis, trace minerals, and intact antioxidants. Raw honey is alive. Processed honey is dead. And here's something most men have never heard about. Raw honey is one of the richest natural sources of a trace mineral called boron. Now, boron plays a direct role in how your body metabolizes and uses testosterone. A study published in Biological Trace Element Research found that men supplementing with boron showed a 28% increase in free testosterone within just 1 week. Free testosterone is the active form, the kind your body can actually use for energy, libido, and performance. And you're not taking a synthetic pill. You're getting it from a whole food source. So, how do you identify real raw honey? Look for these signs. It should be thick and often slightly cloudy in appearance. It may crystallize over time, and that's actually a good sign because it proves the honey hasn't been overheated. You should see visible pollen particles if you look closely. The label must specifically say raw or unfiltered. If it just says pure, that usually means it's been pasteurized. And ideally, there should be a harvest date on the label. If the honey is crystal clear and stays liquid forever, it's been processed. Where should you buy it? Local farmers markets are great. Just ask the beekeeper if the honey has been heated. Health food stores work, but you need to read the labels very carefully. And there are plenty of reputable small batch producers online. Avoid anything labeled as a blend or anything with added ingredients. Yes, raw honey costs about $2 to $4 more per jar, but you're only using 1 to 2 tablespoons per day. One jar will last you 3 to 4 weeks. This is one of the best investments you can make in your circulation and vitality. Now that you know which honey to buy, let me show you the exact protocol that makes all the difference. Because here's what separates the men who see real, measurable results from those who don't. It's not just about taking honey. It's about when you take it. Your body responds to honey completely differently depending on the time of day, and understanding these 3 critical timing windows is what turns honey from a simple food into a powerful circulatory tool. Timing window number 1 is first thing in the morning, and this is non-negotiable if you want results. Within 30 minutes of waking up, I want you to take 1 full tablespoon of raw honey on an empty stomach before your coffee and before your breakfast. Here's why this timing is so critical. Your body has been fasting for 7 to 8 hours overnight. Your insulin sensitivity is at its absolute highest point of the day, which means your body can process natural sugars efficiently without spiking your blood sugar. At the same time, your cardiovascular system is waking up. Blood flow is naturally increasing, and nitric oxide production is ramping up. By adding honey at this exact moment, you amplify that natural surge. You're giving your endothelial cells the raw materials they need right when they're most receptive. How should you take it? You have 3 options. The fastest absorption comes from taking it straight off the spoon. If you prefer, you can stir it into a glass of lukewarm water with fresh lemon juice. Or you can mix it into Greek yogurt or overnight oats. But here's the critical rule. Never add honey to hot coffee or boiling water. Heat above 104 degrees Fahrenheit destroys the live enzymes that make honey powerful. Always let liquids cool to lukewarm before adding honey. What will you notice from this morning dose? You'll experience clean, sustained energy without the jitters that come from coffee. You'll have mental clarity by mid-morning. You won't experience that 10 or 11 a.m. energy crash. And your circulation is being supported from the very start of your day. I had a 64-year-old patient who started this exact protocol. 2 weeks in, he told me, "Dr. Romano, mornings feel completely different. I have energy I haven't felt in years." That's nitric oxide and stable blood sugar working together. Timing window number 2 is 30 to 45 minutes before any kind of physical activity, and this window works beautifully whether you're going to the gym, taking a brisk walk, doing yard work, or even being intimate with your partner. Take 1 teaspoon to 1 tablespoon of raw honey about half an hour before the activity. Here's why this works. The natural sugars in honey provide quick fuel without causing a crash. More importantly, the nitric oxide boost that honey provides opens your blood vessels right when you need enhanced blood flow. You get better oxygen delivery to your muscles and organs. You experience improved performance and stamina, and blood flows where you need it most. Now, let me address the intimacy application directly, because this is something men ask me about all the time. Some men use this timing window strategically before being with their partner. This is not about taking a pill that forces a response. This is about natural circulatory support. Men consistently report feeling more responsive, having better stamina, and experiencing stronger arousal. It's supporting the system, not forcing it. How should you take this pre-activity dose? You can take it straight from the spoon, or you can mix it with a small handful of raw nuts like walnuts or almonds. The healthy fats in the nuts slow the absorption slightly, giving you more sustained energy. Plus, nuts provide zinc and magnesium, both of which are critical for testosterone production and sexual function. Now, timing window number 3 is the one that surprises most men, and that's 30 minutes before bed. I want you to take 1 teaspoon of raw honey, and notice this is a smaller dose than the morning, about half an hour before you lie down. Most men hear this and think, sugar before bed? That sounds crazy. But raw honey has a unique ratio of glucose to fructose that actually stabilizes blood sugar overnight instead of spiking it. Here's what happens while you sleep. Honey supports liver glycogen storage, which prevents those middle-of-the-night wake-ups. It reduces nighttime cortisol spikes that can disrupt your sleep. And most importantly, it provides the raw materials your body needs during its peak testosterone production window. You see, 90% of your testosterone is produced during deep REM sleep. The boron and B vitamins in raw honey support that production. What do men consistently report from this bedtime ritual? They sleep through the night with fewer trips to the bathroom. They wake up feeling more refreshed and energized, and they experience stronger, more frequent morning erections. This bedtime window surprises my patients more than any other part of the protocol. How should you take it? Straight off the spoon works perfectly. Or you can mix it with half a teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon, which improves insulin sensitivity and is especially beneficial at night. You can also stir it into warm, not hot, chamomile or herbal tea. But here's a critical warning. Do not exceed 1 teaspoon at night. More is not better here. Too much can actually disrupt your sleep and spike your blood sugar, which defeats the entire purpose. Now, raw honey is powerful on its own, but when you pair it with these 3 specific ingredients, you create synergies that multiply the circulatory benefits. Let me show you the 3 most powerful combinations. Combination number 1 is honey plus fresh ginger. Mix 1 tablespoon of raw honey with 1/4 teaspoon of freshly grated ginger. Why does this work so well? Ginger is a natural vasodilator, which means it actively opens your blood vessels. It contains compounds called gingerols that improve blood flow throughout your entire body. Research shows that daily ginger supplementation increased testosterone levels by 17% over 3 months. When you combine honey and ginger, the honey provides nitric oxide while the ginger widens the pathway for blood to flow. This is my go-to recommendation for men with circulation issues. You can take this combination in the morning window or pre-activity window. Mix them together and take it straight. Stir into lukewarm water or add to a smoothie. You'll feel a gentle warming sensation. That's increased blood flow happening in real time. Combination number 2 is honey plus Ceylon cinnamon. Mix 1 tablespoon of raw honey with half a teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon, and I want to emphasize Ceylon specifically. Regular cassia cinnamon, which is what you find in most grocery stores, contains high levels of coumarin, which can be hard on your liver with daily use. Ceylon is true cinnamon with much lower coumarin content. It's worth the extra $2 to $3 for your health. Why does this combination work? Cinnamon improves insulin sensitivity dramatically. It helps your body process glucose efficiently without the spike and crash that comes from sugar. It reduces inflammation and supports stable, sustained energy. This is the combination I most often recommend for the bedtime window because it supports stable blood sugar all night long. But it also works beautifully in the morning. Mix them together and take it straight. Stir into lukewarm water or herbal tea, or add to Greek yogurt or oatmeal. Combination number 3 is honey plus raw nuts. Drizzle 1 tablespoon of raw honey over a small handful of raw, unsalted nuts. The best choices are walnuts, which provide omega-3 fatty acids, almonds, which are rich in magnesium and vitamin E, and Brazil nuts, which contain selenium that directly supports testosterone production. Why is this combination so powerful? Healthy fats are the literal building blocks your body uses to manufacture testosterone. The fats in nuts slow down the absorption of honey, which gives you more stable blood sugar. And nuts provide zinc, magnesium, and selenium, all of which are critical for male hormone production. This is a complete hormonal support package. I recommend this combination for the pre-activity window or as an afternoon snack. The key is that the nuts must be raw, never roasted, never salted. This pairing provides sustained energy, testosterone support, reduced inflammation, and better vascular health all in one simple snack. One more critical reminder. Never ever combine honey with boiling water or hot liquids. Heat above 104 degrees destroys the enzymes that make honey therapeutically powerful. Always let your liquids cool to lukewarm before adding honey. Now, let me be very clear about who should proceed with extra caution and what mistakes you need to avoid. If you're diabetic or pre-diabetic, understand that honey is still a carbohydrate and it will affect your blood sugar. Start with half-teaspoon doses, monitor your glucose levels closely, and work with your doctor. Some men with well-controlled diabetes do absolutely fine with this protocol, but everyone's body is different. If you're on blood thinners like warfarin or aspirin, know that honey has mild blood-thinning properties, and ginger amplifies this effect. Talk to your doctor before combining these. And if you have severe, complete erectile dysfunction that appeared suddenly, you need to see a urologist immediately. This could indicate cardiovascular issues that require medical attention. Honey is a powerful support tool, but it's not a replacement for proper medical evaluation when something serious is happening. Here are the 4 most common mistakes that sabotage results. Mistake number 1, using too much. More is not better. Stick to 2 to 3 tablespoons total per day. Overdoing it creates blood sugar problems and actually undermines the benefits you're trying to achieve. Mistake number 2, taking it all at night. Late-night sugar disrupts sleep and suppresses testosterone production. If you're only going to do 1 dose per day, do it in the morning. The bedtime dose should always be your smallest at 1 teaspoon maximum. Mistake number 3, heating it. Once you heat honey above 104 degrees, the enzymes die and you're left with expensive sugar. That has no therapeutic value. Always add honey to lukewarm or cool foods and drinks. And mistake number 4, expecting instant results. This is not Viagra. It doesn't work in 30 minutes. This is circulatory support that builds over time. The benefits accumulate progressively over weeks, not hours. So let me give you a realistic timeline so you know exactly what to expect and when. In week 1, you'll notice more consistent energy throughout the day, fewer afternoon crashes, better mental clarity and focus, and your sleep quality may start to improve. These are the first signs. They're subtle, but they're real. In weeks 2 and 3, you'll experience circulation improvements. Your hands and feet will feel warmer because peripheral circulation is improving. You'll recover faster after exercise. And you may notice morning erections starting to return or becoming noticeably firmer. This is when patients usually call me and say, "Dr. Romano, it's actually working." In weeks 4 through 6, you hit the sweet spot. You'll have a more reliable erectile response during intimacy. Arousal happens faster. Stamina and staying power improve. And your confidence starts to return because your body is responding the way you want it to. And in weeks 8 through 12, if you're combining this honey protocol with regular exercise, quality sleep, and stress management, you'll experience hormonal optimization. Testosterone levels stabilize. Morning erections become consistent and strong. And your overall vitality improves across the board. You genuinely feel like yourself again. But let me be clear about what this requires from you. Consistency. This means daily use, not sporadic. Patience. Results build progressively, not instantly. And supporting habits. You need to be walking regularly, staying hydrated, and getting quality sleep. The men who commit to this protocol for 8 to 12 weeks are the ones who experience real transformation. I recommend tracking your progress using your phone notes. Rate your energy, your sleep, quality, and your morning erections daily on a scale of 1 to 10. After 30 days, you'll have actual data, not just guesses. And here's the realistic perspective I want you to hold. This is not a miracle cure. It's a natural support tool that works with your body's own systems. When you combine it with healthy habits, the results are genuinely remarkable. So here's exactly what I want you to do. Commit to this protocol for the next 30 days. And track these 4 things daily on your phone. Your energy level on a scale of 1 to 10. Your sleep quality on a scale of 1 to 10. The frequency and firmness of your morning erections. And your overall sense of vitality. It takes 30 seconds a day. After 30 days, you'll have real, concrete data about how your individual body responds to this protocol. You'll know if it's working for you. And I'm confident you're going to feel the difference. Then I want you to come back to this video and drop a comment below. Tell me what changed. Tell me what surprised you. Your experience helps other men in this community who are trying to decide if this is right for them. If this information was valuable to you, share this with a friend or family member who needs to hear it. This is Dr. Lila Romano, and I'll see you in the next video.